My name is Roy Langlois from Jindal Films America. It used to be Heritage ExxonMobil. For those of you who don't know, the films division in Jindal might be a new name to you. But we're going to talk about novel films for store drop-off, which everyone knows, and then soon to recycle applications or ready recycle. That's really going to be polypropylene solutions and things that we can talk about future, and that term will be heard in the industry, and Dow uses it and some other use it as ready to recycle and things like that. Just real quick introduction as to who Jindal Films is for those of you who don't know, and then we'll do why do we orient film, because we are orientation company, biax oriented on a tender frame process. Some market insights and sustainability trends that we see as a film manufacturer. So we have a little bit of a different view because we don't have really any push in the industry, we don't have really any pull, and we don't have anyone knocking at our door asking us why we have so much trash. So we have a little bit of a limbo space that we get to play in the middle of everyone. Some of our sustainability goals and what we see, and then some of these new product developments we'll glass over real quick. So who is Jindal Films? We are a global supplier with employees in manufacturing in both the Americas, Europe, and Asia, for those of you who don't know. Jindal Films America is here in Georgia and Oklahoma, 8 sites in Europe, and then our parent company over in India, just outside Mumbai. We're experts in specialty films and labeling and flexible packaging. And we have over 600 kilotons of BOPP, BOPET, and now BOPE film capacity, with 2 new lines that are going to be about 200 kilotons a year coming online in the next 6 months. This is just a quick map of where we're located, so we pretty much can cover the whole world in various regions. And of course, sustainability, the giant term in the room, is how do you cover that in 3 different regions? Well, that's a nightmare. Obviously, with recyclability being North America, recyclability and compostability in Europe, and then really the big push in Southeast Asia and India is compostability. So why do we orient film? We do it on a tender frame process. We extrude film. We don't blow it or cast it. Why do we orient it? Simply, we want physical properties that are different than what you're going to see from a blown or cast drum line. 2 times improvement versus cast polypropylene, 5 times improvement over blown in your stiffness, so it's not going to be flimsy, things like that. Your barrier's better. Simply, you imagine it as like Lincoln logs. So if we're going to do 30,000-foot view of polymer chemistry, you have Lincoln logs and you align the chains, and when you align the chains, you get better barrier. So your molecules can't pass through the surface. You get increased strength. Your modulus is better. And of course, sustainability, the big word that everyone likes, and that's why we're all here, is that you can use less material if you have a oriented pouch. You can use less in general with roll footage. You get the yield advantage in certain things. And of course, you have potential for single mono structures, whether it be all polyethylene or all polypropylene, because you can inherit some of those benefits that you might not be able to get from a sealant web that's blown, or barrier film, or PET film with heat stability and all those glorious things. So of course, we have high clarity and gloss too. So your optics, which are something that might matter to the person or the people who are buying it, turns out it matters a lot, and I get that almost every day. Tactility, clarity, and gloss. 3 most important things you can ask for. So recyclability and sustainability trends. Those pictures, which no one really enjoys looking at, but we all see, are pictures out of the Greenpeace audit that was this last year, and you can just Google those, from places in Southeast Asia and India and other things like that, where obviously we have a litter problem or a waste problem in general. When I personally look at it, it doesn't quite hit home because it's not here in the States. So it takes a little living outside of yourself to understand that it's obviously a global problem that everyone in this room cares a lot about, but how do you take that issue to the marketplace, and how do you convince people that don't see images like that every day that this is a problem we really have to address? Some of the stats right on there, 92% of consumers want brands that help increase recycling. Now, I don't know who the 8% of people are who don't care. I don't really want to meet them, but we still have an issue that there are 8% of people that don't really care. And I don't think it's a matter of they don't care. I think it's a matter of they don't understand the issue, or they're not educated, or they just have never been dealt with it, which was just said in the last presentation. I have people I know in Texas who have a hole in their backyard they burn their trash in to this day because they can. It's their land. They have 1,000 acres, and it's their property. They don't really care. They're going to burn in a hole in the backyard. So maybe those are the people who care. I don't know. 56% of those people said that loyalty to brand is now influenced by how the brand engages. I am a millennial, so I have been labeled into this category as I care a lot about the environment and all that, which I do. I care a lot about the environment. I grew up on a farm and I was raised that way, so sustainability and the environment matters a lot to me. But that's starting to influence more and more purchasing decisions and loyalty to brand, which is influenced by how you portray what you're doing to the market. Of course, we've heard this stat many times. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, by 2050, there will be more fish than plastic in the ocean if we don't change something, what we're doing right now. If it goes the same way it's going, we're going to be eating plastic in our fish and things like that, which no one likes, obviously. So, where is the industry now? Where is it going, and what is it driving at? Where the industry now is, we've heard lectures all day about it, and of course, all the people in this room care a lot. So we all know, we're all very highly educated on to where is the industry. We all have an idea. It's pretty good, not to say it's amazing, but it's pretty good. We're trying hard. We're coming up with new technologies left and right to solve problems. But is it really a technological problem? Now, this is my opinion. If anyone disagrees with me, they have the right to do so. I don't think recycling is a technological issue. I think it's a psychological and sociological problem. I think that if you can convince people to buy things because it's recyclable, they will. But until you can convince them in the mindset that it's the most important thing to do, it's not going to change. We have technology that you can put out in the system. Dow has that PE resin. There's a lot of PE resin, and there's PE film technologies. And there's a lot of things that we can make an all PE pouch or an all PE package and recycle it all, because that's the only industry we have right now is PE film recycling. We don't technically have polypropylene recycling in the States for film. Now we have it for solids, but not for film. But where is it going? So where it's going is what we're talking about as far as store drop-off and other ready applications for recycling. The movement is huge. I have meetings every week with all kinds of customers and clients and people about they want to have a sustainability goal by 2020 or 2025 or 2030 or 2050. They all have goals, and some of them have multiple goals as to what they want to do. They want to be sustainable, and of course, each company has their own definition of what sustainable is, whether it be focusing on energy or focusing on PCR, or focusing on making a recyclable package, or just going from a multi-laminate down to an all single SPI resin category, whether it be all polyethylene or all polypropylene, knowing that polypropylene film isn't recyclable, but thinking that one of these days we'll catch up to Europe, have a polypropylene film collection, and then be able to recycle it then. And of course, what is driving it? Now, once again, my opinion, I think it's fear, personally, that with social media and young people making decisions for buying, no one wants to be the person caught on the cover of USA Today tomorrow morning with a sea turtle covered in plastic trash. With social media, you could change something overnight. If one person doesn't like the way something, they have an influence on 1 million people, and overnight you've influenced 35 million people, and all of a sudden you have people dumping trash in CEOs' front yards because they're unhappy with something. So some of the industry sustainability goals, these are the ones that they influence for sustainable packaging development. Of course, you want to practice source reduction, use recycled content, and all of this is important. But as a film manufacturer, we're really limited. We're kind of pigeonholed into what we can do. Because as I said, we don't really have much pull, we don't have any push, and we have very little influence as to what people are saying when they come knock on our door mad at us. So we pretty much wait for someone to come ask for a solution and then help them push it through, or we just get the solutions ready so that when someone's ready to change something, we might have an innovation you can use. So we really design for reuse and design for recycling in some of our new technology. As I just said, as a film manufacturer, what can we do? So those are some of what we can do. We can get innovations ready so that when changes come and companies want to change packages or influence their goals, we're ready to provide those solutions so that we can then work with them to help attain their goals as they move throughout the system. And it's not easy. It's not an easy process because you're going to give up something. And something we talked about earlier, I think was said, is that there's always going to be some compromise. The big one is, can you replace PET as an outside web for heat stability? Well, not with high-density polyethylene. You can do it, but you're going to sacrifice right away because it's not polyester. And if you can find a way to give up some compromise and do certain things like that, and of course spend more money because that's going to happen initially, some of these goals can be attained. And so that's a lot of what we're doing as a manufacturer, is to try to provide these innovative solutions that we can start to achieve some of these goals, because we really have to take a responsibility for ourselves and what we do is, and if we can provide the solutions, that's really our responsibility. So this is Jindal Film's approach to sustainability. So of course, reduce resources, reduce product and food waste by extending the limits of protection, prepare for recycling, and replace non-sustainable materials. And the fundamental role of packaging is to deliver products in perfect condition. So if you fail at that, then you fail your customer. So some of what I've talked about already and some of what we're doing as far as how we can approach some of this sustainable design with customers and other people is that we're using monomaterials. So you're going from whether it be a PE, PET lamination or 3 layers, polyester, foil, paper, any type of lamination, you can go to a monomaterial, whether it be all polyethylene, all polypropylene, or in some cases all PET if you really want to. Now, we don't support PET in the States, but you could do an all PET laminate. Down gauging or lightweighting, which has been said, use less material, reduce your carbon footprint. Coating replacements, so things like PVDC you got to get rid of, and of course no one likes chlorine. Chlorine's the enemy. Chlorine's always bad, so get rid of chlorine. Replace materials such as all PE structures and all PP structures and things like that. So some of our innovative solutions real quick are recyclable and are soon to recycle. So your soon to recycle is going to be your polypropylene, not recyclable today, but not to say it might not be once you get to an all polypropylene structure in the coming years. Europe, of course, I have a counterpart, of course, in Europe, and when I bring up this slide to him, he doesn't like it because polypropylene film is recyclable in Europe. So he says, no, that they're all recyclable. And I said, well, they're not here. So of course, that's some of the issue of navigating between regions. How do you sell this to people and how do you work through it internally and externally? So we have Seal Tough and 25HD 200. So our Seal Tough line is low density oriented film. So really good seals, really good caulking, but low density. And then our 25HD, which is our flagship for our new Ethylite family of films, is a high density PE film. Great modulus, better than 100 gauge probe, drop-in replacement print web. Really, really exciting technology that's coming to market as we speak right now. This is just an example of 2 of the structures we have for our biaxially oriented polyolefin seal tough film. Very thin, very clear, very strong, superior haze, puncturing, great seals. And you can really laminate that on the inside of a HDPE. You could do that on an MDO or our Biax HD, high density. On the outside, you get good seals, and you get a 2 laminate for an all PE pouch that would get the How to Recycle logo. It's also Trex approved and any other approval system if you want to go through it. This is our new development, which is really, really exciting stuff. It's basically 100% HDPE film that is clearer than any blown you'll find for HD. It drops in on the printer or the laminator just like 100 gauge probe. No changes to any of the machine. Adhesive, extrusion, solvent, solventless, all solids, rotogravure and flexo. It's really, it's not too good to be true, but it's just really exciting in terms of what we can now do with some of these structures that they didn't think you could get out of PET or get out of prop laminates for. It allows great manufacturing, and it will be approved for store drop-off with the How to Recycle, and it is already currently Trex approved. So real quick, these soon-to-recycle technologies are all polypropylene films. So some of the issue with polypropylene is you want some of the properties of polyethylene with your seals and some of your caulkability and things like that, but you also want polypropylene for its stiffness and its how it looks in a pouch and how it feels. Because tactility is a problem I get, once a month or so. Someone just wants something to feel slightly different. And I know that comes from the end consumer, whoever's buying it on the shelf. They buy based on how they feel, not always with how it looks, but it has to feel right too. So our SUP is one of our hybrid type films that has polypropylene, full polypropylene, and it supports a full polypropylene design for soon-to-be recycled technology, and these are some of the applications that it has already currently been used in. And comparing polypropylene to polyethylene, so of course there's plenty of issues and things like that, and you can see it better on there than I could explain it to you. Polypropylene is clearer, has better tear, stiffness, things like that. Then toward the bottom half of that slide, you can realize that polyethylene The recyclable currently technology is better in seals, seal integrity, adhesive bonds, and extrusion bonds. So you have to do a little give and take currently in what we have. So what we did was we combined the two. We made a hybrid, that's what we call it. And it is a polypropylene core, but with a polyethylene sealant. But if you look at it under IR, it's a very little bit of polyethylene, so it's still classified as polypropylene. So if you're going to put it into an all polypropylene pouch, that little bit of polyethylene sealant on it won't make you a multi-material laminate. It's classified as all polypropylene due to IR scanning. Just a real quick comparison of all the things that we've talked about. You have your propylene moving from left to right, propylene, and then our new development right there in the middle, our ethylite, high density film, low density, and then blown. So you can see that blown, which is one of the most common use today, all of the innovations we have and other companies have put forward going forward to try to solve some of these sustainability solutions really allow a packaging engineer to sort of start to play with things and maybe tackle some of the structures and sustainability goals that they've put forth in the market. And in conclusion, recyclability is obviously important to consumers and benefits the environment. No one's going to disagree with that, especially nobody in this room. All PE structures are desirable for recycling with a focus on store drop-off recyclability. And for us as a company, we're focusing on that right now because currently it's one of the easiest we have going forward, of course, curbside. If curbside film ever gets picked up here, that'd be great because you can hopefully transition from store drop-off over to curbside relatively easily. PE films must be functional as well as cost-effective, which is something we're really focusing hard on. And then in the future, all polyolefin structures, meaning all polypropylene as well as all polyethylene, are in demand to allow you to get to that mono-material pouch or product so that you can hopefully attain some of these sustainability goals we've set out for and take responsibility, like hopefully we are as a company, trying to provide innovative solutions and really try to get something done.